Hi, my name is Caitlin Ossipovich, and today we will be taking a glimpse at the life and history of Belan Tsegaye. Belan, please tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Belan Tsegaye and I'm a grade 12 student at Miller Comprehensive Catholic High School. I live with both my mother and my little brother. Sports and activities that I enjoy are gymnastics, dance, and track and field. During my pastimes, I love spending time with family and friends just as everybody else, but I also love expanding my knowledge within the topics that I continuously have been fighting for, such as mental health, social injustices, systematic racism, and it just helps me be more interested in them and be really ready if a conversation were to come up between anybody.
Where are you from? And what's it like there in terms of the economy, population, location, and climate?
I'm originally from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The economic status that I kind of grew up in was definitely middle class. It didn't really matter in Ethiopia because, family and friends everywhere. The population of the city that I am from is over 4 million people. The religion that I grew up around was Ethiopian Orthodox. Cultural wise, I definitely adapted to, music, clothing, dance, the traditions that are incorporated in Ethiopian soil. The location is in East Africa. The climate that I definitely grew up in is definitely really hot. In comparison to Canada, it would be 30 degrees every day over there. But around September, it would get really rainy and stuff like that. But it's always hot. They have no idea really what snow is over there. But yeah, that's my little backstory of where I'm from.
Was the political climate or the instigating force the cause for this injustice?
I would say that it would be an instigating force in my opinion because of the fact that, if you're a person of color, you're an automatic target. You know what I mean? Especially within the BIPOC community living in Saskatchewan, it's as if those of being black and indigenous are worth less than superior races such as white people. And it's the fact that the systems that are supposed to build and protect us are the same ones failing us, such as police, social services, schools, and the list goes on. So it's the fact that these systems that are in place to help those are the same ones not.
What is the main injustice that you were fighting for?
So there definitely is a lot of injustices that are continuously being fought throughout the world. The one that I definitely focus mainly on is systematic racism built within the systems that, within me, just being the shade black or the color black is different. The fear in my heart of, being pulled over by the police or, going to Superstore and being followed around by security. It's just those little things that are built within these systems. It affects those who aren't white.
What sparked your interest and motivated you to start your journey?
So in 2018, on April 30th, I lost my best friend Caleb Schmidt due to suicide. And Caleb was a young black kid that went to a predominantly white school, right? And so he went through a lot of racism and bullying and discrimination due to him being black, right? So I began working for mental health, advocating for mental health and more mental health resources throughout Saskatchewan. So I guess through that, it kind of helped me build up to the fact of speaking about social activism and systematic racism which was built due to my mental health advocacy work, right? So through that, it made me stronger and made me more passionate about this type of work. And so exactly just like that, it all started from step one as to me deciding, okay, I'm speaking out for him and his memory and we're gonna make change.
What techniques did you use to combat this injustice?
So on June 7th, 2020, I spoke at the Black Lives Matter protest here at Regina at the legislative building, and I spoke about Caleb's story and the fact that all these systems that were in place failed him, and the fact that he was black and how that was an issue. But it's not an issue, Black is beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful everything. So shortly after I spoke at the protest, I joined a group called Black and Sask, and we're basically an organization that speaks to these systems about systemic racism. And we've already spoken to the Regina Catholic School Board, the mayor, Regina Police Force, Prairie Valley School Division, the Minister of Education, and we've spoken to the Premier. So we're definitely speaking to these high authority figures to try and stop systemic racism and improve equality throughout.
What kind of reactions did you receive, whether it was from the public or just your loved ones?
So that's definitely a good question. I definitely was getting a lot of positive feedback for those for people that I didn't even know, close friends, family, you know. It was a lot of positive remarks within that, but definitely there was also negative remarks, you know, just like people saying like it's not true or comparing it to All Lives Matter, but you know, we're not arguing against all lives do matter. But as of right now, we're telling you guys Black Lives Matter too, you know? So within that, I've definitely had a lot of both positive and negative feedback, but it's definitely worth it to know that I'm definitely trying my best to help those people around.
And what were some of the successes as well as challenges that you've been faced with?
I had a lot of successes actually, especially within the video I posted in memory of Caleb Schmidt, which is now has over like 20,000 views, and it definitely wasn't for views or anything, but it was definitely to help those who are suffering from mental health. So right after posting that video, I definitely got a lot of media coverage and positive remarks from those throughout. So that was a lot of, you know, joy and happiness, and through that I've spoken to, you know, Regina Catholic School Board continuously with incorporating mental health and stuff like that. So failures or challenges within mental health, my mental health work and my advocacy for like social justice and systemic racism, there's definitely have been a lot of challenges and failures due to the fact that, you know, we are trying our best to stop and make change, but it's the fact that like, is anybody listening, you know? It's like, am I re-traumatizing myself with the continuous stories that I'm telling, especially within Caleb's story? Am I re-traumatizing myself for nothing? You know, is anybody really listening? You know, and I've been doing mental health work for about 3 years, and it's just within the fact like, does anybody really listen? You know, so definitely that has really had a factor in it, because like, you know, change needs to happen, and it doesn't need to be a huge change, but just like simplistic changes that we know somebody is listening and taking action, you know.
And is your journey still continuing today?
Yeah, of course, my journey is definitely still continuing, especially with my mental health advocacy and my systemic racism social justice work is definitely continuing. I actually plan to go to university and major in social justice and take a minor in mental health studies. So definitely, this is definitely these factors that have happened in my life really make me want to become better and change the world, you know. And I definitely believe, you know, change happens within, and you know, change isn't going to happen unless you make a change, you know. Complaining about it, talking about it isn't going to change anything, you know. You really got to try and put your words into actions, you know. I just want to end off on a recent article. It's a statement that I said, a quote, you could say it or whatever, but I said, you know, unless the individuals with the authority to influence the direction of our school system start caring about the lives of Black students, children will continue to suffer while they struggle to get an education. So through that statement, it's definitely the fact that, you know, you got to keep fighting, fight for what you believe in. And I just want to end off on a motto that I always say every article, everything like that, which would be life is worth living. And I hope you guys keep your head up and maybe learn something from this.
Thank you, Belan, for that educational experiences and for helping us get to know you as well as learning about your purpose through social injustices.